This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The U.S. and Russian military scrambled to locate the wreckage of the American MQ-9 Reaper drone that crashed into the Black Sea after being hit by a tailing Russian fighter. Ben Wolfgang reports Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley said the Pentagon knows the spot where the $32 million drone crashed into the sea after its collision with a Russian fighter jet. U.S. officials say the fighter jet acted aggressively and irresponsibly in the run-up to the crash and even dumped fuel on the drone in an apparent bid to disable it. The U.S. said the unmanned surveillance drone was flying over international waters, but Russian officials said the craft had turned off its transponders and was on a course to cross over what it considers to be Russian-controlled territory. Russia has rejected any blame and said its planes did not fire on or strike the craft. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz told Congress that a majority of sectors along the southern U.S. border are not secure and that it was a mistake to stop construction of a border wall. Stephen Dinan reports Ortiz told the House Committee on Homeland Security that 5 of the 9 sectors of the southwestern boundary are not under control. He also asked at the remote hearing in Texas for more agents, saying he needs about 3,000 more than the agency's current total of 19,000. Congress last year approved money for 350 more agents, and President Biden's new budget also calls for another 350, though the Border Patrol has had trouble just keeping up with attrition. Financial analysts say Silicon Valley Bank's management paid more attention to its environmental, social, and governance policies than its financial health. Dave Boyer reports analysts said SVB officers were heavily focused on those policies while ignoring risk management responsibilities that could have detected trouble in time to save it from collapse. Recriminations continue over the bank's collapse and the federal government's rescue of SVB and New York's Signature Bank. The Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission are investigating SVB's downfall, including stock sales by its top executives. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. In South Korea, protesters are targeting President Yoon Suk-yeol over a plan for businesses in his country to pay legal costs related to reparations for victims of Japanese abuses during World War II. Andrew Salmon reports South Koreans have accused Japan of having a lack of contrition and humanitarianism about its occupation of the Korean Peninsula during the war. Japan counters that South Korea has failed over the years to honor prior good faith agreements to put the dispute behind them. Though neighboring Japan is a democracy and fellow U.S. ally, many in South Korea consider it foremost the imperial power that colonized it in 1910. Only in 1945 was the peninsula liberated after the Allied victory in the war. And finally, the Pew Research Center has found that Judaism is the most favorably viewed religion nationwide. Religion reporter Mark Kellner reports the survey of approximately 10,000 released this week found Judaism scored a net plus 28 rating in the analysis. The study also found that Americans generally view Roman Catholics and mainline Protestants favorably, but tend to view Muslims, atheists, and Mormons negatively. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.